So I got to throw this out there. So today, 17 House members were arrested for protesting outside of the Supreme Court. But I'm curious. There were a lot of protests, and I get it. I get it. Today's protest was about abortion, a Supreme Court decision. And you see the video here. Come on, y'all, show it. Come on. The people getting arrested. Members of Congress, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She was one. There were others. I saw some posts. Ayanna Pressley was out there as well. But one of the things that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, as I said, Congresswoman Jackie Speier, who I think I saw a tweet where she said she had never been arrested before, but she invoked Congressman John Lewis with good trouble. But I got to go back to this, Avis. It was a whole lot of non-black members of Congress we never saw out there when there were protests for the People Act and John Lewis Act.
Well, that is true. People have their specific issues that's going to get them riled up, and they will completely ignore other issues. And the sad thing is that, honestly, it's related. If you want to be able to protect women's rights and everybody's rights that we care about, we need to be able to maximize Black voting power in the midterm elections and beyond. And so people want to pull back and act like pushing through and making sure that we had voting rights protections is something that's something that's quote unquote just a Black thing. The reality is it's a thing that impacts our ability to protect democracy, period. Because when the Black vote is compromised, so is the ability of the Democratic Party to win. And right now, we do not have two parties. We have one party that is a party that's trying to govern, that's actually trying to pass policy, maybe not in the most beautiful way possible, but they are trying to act in a way that the system is supposed to work. And you have another amalgamation of people who basically want to turn our democracy into an autocratic system. This is not a comparison of two equal things, okay? And if we want to be able to have a democracy moving forward, particularly at a time when people of color are growing in numbers, because that's what really this is all about, as we've once again talked about for years on this show. The minute that white people are seeing that they are losing their majority, and as a backlash to actually having a Black president, people have lost their damn minds, and this is the result. The other side, those who are on the left, need to wake up and understand that there is a special connection between Black people being able to vote, being able to maximize our voting power and not have that infringed upon, and they having whatever their little pet project supported, because it's our vote that's going to make sure it happens.
But here's the thing, Larry. The For the People Act and the John Lewis Act, that wasn't about just Black people. And that was the point that I kept saying. I kept saying, white progressives, where y'all at? White members of Congress, where y'all at? And so the problem that I had, I saw mostly Black people having these protests and getting arrested. Now, the Poor People's Campaign, they had a multiracial coalition of people who were out there, but my whole deal was, don't y'all understand that if you look at the For the People Act and the John Lewis Act, those things were directly related to ensuring that you do not have the kind of gerrymandering that's going on across the country, guaranteeing access to the ballot, not just for Black folks, but for young voters, for Latinos, for Asians, we can go on and on and on. And that was the thing that was bothering me, that when it came to voting, that's y'all Black thing. The issue of abortion, well, that's all of us. Yo, that and that are tied together.
It's all connected, Roland. So I want to go back to something you say all the time. We try to tell you. So listen, you're right. Folks, when we had even a conversation, which were fighting for voting rights to make sure we have comprehensive election reform, there were a lot of people that racialized this conversation. And, it's an issue for Black folks. But the bottom line is this democracy is about everyone. regardless of racial, ethnic background, your religious affiliation. This issue is about everyone, all Americans. It's about maintaining democracy. And so that urgency that we're seeing now should have been taking place months ago, and we wouldn't be in this place. But unfortunately, here we are. But you're right, Roland. And listen, this is not new for white progressives. This has been going on for decades, unfortunately, when there are issues that they perceive or are dealing with, there are issues that black folks have to deal with. Far too often, they've taken a step back. And then when they're criticized, then they step forward a little bit more inch by inch and then try to talk about it, have press conferences, et cetera, and what you see recently here. But the bottom line is we needed this sense of urgency, like I said, months ago. And and a lot of these progressives have waited too long. And now, like I said, when there are issues that they feel like are impacting them, now they want to get involved. But we need this, like I said, this sense of urgency consistently, because the Republican Party is likely to take back the House at a minimum in November. And then we're going to have a serious problem, not only in relation to democracy, and you can forget all the voting rights issues, but it is time for members of a Democratic Party, particularly those white progressives, to not stand on the sidelines all the time, but be proactive in terms of addressing issues that are centered within protecting our democracy.
And that was the point, Mustafa, that I was trying to raise months ago by saying, hey, y'all sitting on y'all asses and not coming out here. Y'all need to understand. In fact, the targeting wasn't just to black people. I mean, I have been detailing the voter suppression for the last 2 decades. The clerk in Wisconsin who deliberately moved an early voting location because too many young white progressives were voting and moved it to a far away place with a small parking lot to purposely bring the numbers down. She admitted it. We've seen this happen as well. So when we were talking about those 2 critical voting bills, that was a direct correlation to young white progressives, suburban white voters, not just black voters.
I was just talking earlier with some climate and environmental folks, and I said, if you're not protecting the vote, there's no way you're ever going to get the pieces in place that are necessary to be able to protect people's health and protect us from the climate crisis. James Baldwin once said that, he talked about how we often, sometimes don't see the impacts that are happening inside of our communities because we don't want to. Sometimes folks who want to call themselves our allies want to be part-time allies. They only want to show up in certain situations and on certain issues. And if you're truly going to be an authentic ally, then that means that we got to walk hand in hand on all these issues that are interconnected.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?